Hey everyone, Kevin here, and welcome back to my channel. Now, the fight or flight response is everyone's natural reaction to a stressful situation where you either prepare to confront a problem or run from it. And having this response is perfectly normal, and that adrenaline rush and faster heartbeat is something we're all familiar with. The problem comes when your job triggers it, and all the time. Now, this episode came about when I was talking with a teacher who was trying to leave education and then describing the feeling I've mentioned 1,000 times. You know, the Sunday scaries and that feeling of not wanting to get out of your car when you pull into the parking lot. But I realized after helping her through those feelings that this applies to any profession, not just teachers. Education is just where I'm used to hearing it more often. Just think about it. Have you ever had a job where you felt like you always had to flinch and prepare to defend yourself whenever you received an email from your boss? Do you regularly tense up whenever you walk into work? Do you always feel completely and totally overwhelmed by your deadlines and expectations or unclear directives? Do you constantly feel like you're getting negative feedback from your boss that fills you with anxiety? Are you always worried about getting fired or laid off for the most minor of infractions? Yeah, that's not normal, and it will lead you to trigger your fight or flight response to that stress even when there is no physical danger. Sure, we all have bad days at work or times when we genuinely don't feel like going to work either. Sometimes we get tired and make mistakes and just want to rest up, or else we'll end up beating ourselves up about those mistakes. But at no point should you have a panic attack just at the thought of your job. And it's important to note that there are usually three stages to this cycle. Stage one is where you perceive a threat, stage two is the fight or flight response itself, and stage three is relief. The problem is that existing in that second stage forever will lead to long term health complications because you'll never reach the relief stage where you'll feel better. Remaining in the fight or flight response stage can lead to chronic stress, inflammation, and brain damage if left to fester over a long period of time due to the chemical imbalance. Worse yet, you won't think clearly and will end up getting distracted far more easily than you normally would otherwise. And everyone responds to that differently, such as doing things to make them happy even if they only provide temporary relief. Sometimes that temporary relief will actually make things even worse in the long run, such as eating junk food or drinking alcohol. People who are always stressed and in fight or flight tend to have some of the worst rates of obesity and alcohol abuse among workers these days and end up leaving their bodies even more of a wreck than they already were. I actually did a video quite a while back now on teacher substance abuse, and we did a podcast episode with Jessica Duenas, who was a teacher of the year while being a full blown alcoholic to cope with everything going on at school. And I'm sure you or someone you know has had a job like this where you stay because of the money or the vain hope of getting promoted and just end up destroying your own body in the process. No amount of candy, donuts, or alcohol will alleviate the stress that your job is creating. It will only complicate it even further. And as a teacher, I constantly would walk into work with my jaw clenched and muscles tensed up to prepare myself for the horrors of that day. I knew that I would probably have 3 emails from my administrators where I would need to defend myself against some made up accusation or issue. I'd probably have multiple phone calls with parents yelling at me and claiming that I'm indoctrinating their kids. I'd probably have fights, threats, or some other form of workplace violence that I would have to contend with too. And all before lunch, which was the only time I could ever really use the bathroom either, by the way, so you can add the stress of always fighting my own freaking bladder too, if you'd like. But my point is that no job is worth this. You should not feel like you're in perpetual stress overload or that your heart is always racing just to keep up with the most mundane of tasks. Again, your fight or flight response shouldn't be triggered by walking into work or opening your email account on a daily basis. That's not normal. We evolved to have the fight or flight response to contend with momentary danger and to promote survival. But survival isn't living. What you end up with always being in survival mode at your job is an environment ripe for burnout and lasting physical and mental health issues. You deserve better. You deserve to live. If all of this sounds familiar to you or that your current job feels this way, then please leave. Yes, I know finding a new job sucks. But does it suck as much as always being on edge and needing to take something just to cope? I doubt that. In the end, goal setting, relaxation techniques, and therapy only work for so long when you're still stuck in a job like that. At a certain point, you need to remove yourself from that situation entirely. One could even say that you should take flight from that job. I mean, maybe your body is trying to tell you something, so you should listen to it. But with that, I'll end there for now. Thanks for listening, and if you could like, comment, or subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps a lot. If you need any assistance with escaping this kind of an environment, please don't hesitate to reach out, by the way. We all need the nudge sometimes. For now, though, I've been Kevin, and I will see you in the next video.